Good morning. It's the 13th. It's actually about probably six at night. I got up about 3 o'clock in the morning. The day back there, I kind of threw my hours out. Before I get into this lesson, the Lord's been bringing Johnny and I together to experience a lot of things in the spirit, in the heavenly places, learning lessons, learning how to walk, learning how to hold on, learning how to not latch onto fear, to walk in faith, to come to a place of unshakable faith. But before I get in on this, I'll just share from what rises up in my heart, right? This morning, the Lord emphasized that 5G, I'm going to talk about fear a little bit. Fear is a frequency that can be measured. Fear is also a frequency that can be induced by 5G. So they can weaponize it to activate fear in people. It could be other things, but they're going to use 5G to quicken the fear centers in the minds of people. Frequency, right? They can do that with drugs. They can do it even better with frequency. And we know that 5G is a military program. It's higher frequencies are weaponized, and that's what they're going to use it for. So be on guard. This is going to happen. This could be part of Bill Gates' programming. And they can use it. We're already being programmed right now. People are giving into it. That's why we need to, for you chosens out there, you chosen vessels, it's time to learn to rise up into heavenly places. And that's the path that we're on. We're learning to walk this path and understand the principles involved to stay on the path. Because it's so easy to get pulled off the path, right? And especially when the dark prince of this world, he sees you on this narrow path, he's going to try to take you out one way or another. And we have to come to the place where Satan is under our feet. Satan will be under the feet of the elect, of the chosen. They'll be free from their power, because the sons of God will walk in pure faith. They won't walk in fear. And when we come to that place, the darkness has no power in our lives, and we're free. So the Lord's teaching us to rise up by faith, and that's the deliverance that he's doing in the hearts of his people. As you read the word, on one hand, you're taking every thought captive by the mind of Christ. And on the other hand, we need to read the promises made to the overcomer. The promises to those who would enter into the rest of God. And as we read those promises, the seed of it is planted in our heart to bring forth 100-fold measure, right? So we keep our heart clean from garbage coming into it, right? Keep the ground cleaned and tilled up, the good ground. We also need to plant the Word of God, the promises made by the Word, into our heart, so it can bring forth a fruitful garden. It's the Lord's garden, right? And that's what raises us up, so we're able to walk in heavenly places. We're still on this earth. We're walking in a realm where continually open to hear the voice of the Father, like Jesus did when he walked this earth. His spiritual ears were continually open to the Father's heart, and the sons of God will also walk in that place, being both men and women, right? The overcomers. the 144,000. It's time for the 144,000 to stand their watch. Because they're the only ones that can resist the powers to be, that can resist this man and a system that's coming forth. The man-child company, right? This royal priesthood. And this is not when Jesus comes back at the last trump. This is now that the Father is raising his divine government. He's raising up his righteous remnant, his elect company. And as we learn to press in on the path, at some point, the overcomers will be empowered by the powers of the age to come, right? We have to learn to walk that path, maintain our spiritual walk in our union with the Lord. And at some point, the Father's going to fill the temple. The coming of the Lord, the coming of Yeshua within a people. We're the temple. We're supposed to keep the temple clean and occupied, not allow idols in the temple, right? It's a hard thing to do. It's the first and greatest commandment, right? To have no other gods before you, and to love others as yourself. But to walk this path of the chosen, it's going to cost you everything. You must realize that there's a war happening for our minds. And the dark side doesn't want us to be sober-minded, to have the mind of Christ. And the time is coming, if we're not learning to walk in water, to have the enemy under our feet, we will suffer tribulation. And there's going to be many believers out there that will go into tribulation to purify them. You know, you take hold of a thought, say it might be a desire for a woman. You better not allow that seed to get planted in your heart, because it'll take you over. When the times you're coming in, that process is going to be speeded up. And especially, you know, we have to be on guard, because electronics, science will be used, 5G will be used to induce different thoughts into our mind. It's not just arrows being shot, you know, when you shoot your neighbor next door because you don't like him. You think the thought, you already have. You already shot that arrow. Thoughts could rise up from within our own heart, like it did to me today. I was in the restaurant with Johnny. I went out to my van, and Max wasn't there. My dog, I forgot that I left him in Johnny's RV. So I drove around, you know, I wasn't freaked out or nothing. I just drove around looking for him. I couldn't find him, and I realized, well, that thought rose up from within my heart. So we got thoughts in us that will rise up, come to the surface. We must take those captive. Didn't come from the mind of the Spirit. That we have thoughts that would be induced by demons, right? There's always three things for everything. So we could take our own selves off the path. Others could intervene and take us off the path, or we could give in to the wiles of the enemy. So we have to be on guard and to take every thought captive by the Word of God, right? And this is more important than the Word. You know, there's lots of stuff that God is sharing about the times. But we have to get down to where the rubber meets the road, and that means to learn how to walk in faith, to abstain from walking in fear, to read the Word to get the mind of Christ, to keep our lamps lit. There's no other way that anyone is going to get through these days ahead when the COVID-2 comes around again. going to be lockdown, right? It's going to be a war against your mind. So we have to come to the place and not give in to fear, no matter what form it takes. Not give in to it. To stay in faith. And as we do, that's where we begin to shine for Him. That the sons of God, that the overcomers, the 144,000, they're going to go through lots of adversity, right? There's still work in their heart that God's going to do to bring them into absolute perfection. There's going to be a people walking who will have the mind of Christ, who will be walking in the Spirit, not fulfilling the desires of the flesh. That's been done away with. To enter into His rest and to stay in His rest. To learn to experience what it is like to walk in the heavenly realm. And that's what's coming. So we need to press in and be on guard. We shouldn't take every day. We need to take every day serious before the Lord. Right? It's not just another day. It's another day for us to learn to draw closer to Him. Because the closer we are with the Lord, then the safer we are, right? So just sharing these lessons. I know that we're coming very close to the 3 days of darkness, and that's when the bad boys are released. These angels that Enoch talks about, that's been locked away. They're going to be released on the earth. So we better learn how to walk this walk of faith. Because great deception is coming. Spiritual deception, right? And we need the discernment of the Lord to tell what is true and what is not true. Great spiritual deception is coming. Are we ready to endure this time of testing, this time of great deception? I'm going to leave it here. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you with a little bit about the experiences Johnny and I have been going through here from Boston Bar, British Columbia, Canada.